Hello everyone, I am Salamonster. I also go by Soy Salamonster, and I also go by that one guy that does his videos in Spanish and you can't understand.
Focus Ash. Oh, la capitana se va a ir por el granizo, sí, eso está muy sad.
I joined the ABL before the start of the third season, so I'm pretty happy to have joined. This is the first time that I've actually played in the ABL. This is my big debut in Season 3. What makes the ABL more unique to me is actually the fact that it's a doubles draft league. I think that sets it apart from almost every other draft league. I think that it's super well organized. I think that it has a lot of good people to learn from, to play with, and I think that it's going to be one of those leagues that lasts for a long time because the staff and everyone is just doing a fantastic job with it.
Trying to switch his move up or something. So we do see the crunch going on Hatterene, does not quite secure the knockout. So I'm going to probably say that thing is scarfed.
My favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion because I grew up playing Red, and then from Red I moved on to Crystal. So I have a lot of fond memories of me just playing Crystal with my Cyndaquil that just got all the way up. I think the very first time I cleared the game, I must have gotten it up to about level 88, I think. And it was part of my team, the team that I used to defeat Red. I think that battle is epic, and that's why Typhlosion, my starter from there, is my favorite Pokemon. When I battle, I actually feel like sometimes I'm out of focus. I have the... I've had it happen a couple of times where I just miss something during the battle because I'm not paying attention. But I would actually say that I try to focus mostly on getting the upper hand. I try to figure out a way to get the upper hand and then just be able to manage things from there.
Sí, se me hace que sí. El Dapper está en peligro de pegarse solito y morir, entonces está tomando ese riesgo. Si se pega me voy a sentir muy mal. Ok, no, va otro. Ahora Will.
When drafting, I like to have a plan. Say, for example, I make a list of the Pokemon that I'd like the most, and then depending on the turn where I get to pick, both times I've been on a draft league, I've had last pick, so that has been helpful because I get to pick the main Pokemon that I want to build my team around of, and then I get to pick a partner immediately. So I think the main thing is just to know who do you want to be your main Pokemon, and then just build around that, cover the weaknesses as they show up, and know what kind of plans or what kind of synergy you want to have between your Pokemon. Well, regarding tips, I think the main thing is to try to have fun. If you're not having fun doing any of this, then I don't think it's worth doing it. I think that the best you can do is figure out what do you like to see in your battles. Go look at other people, check out how is it that they're making their teams work, watch other people battle to see what kind of works, how different play styles are created, and definitely try to just come up with things you enjoy trying. Don't be afraid to experiment, don't be afraid to just go for it, because I haven't been in many draft leagues, but both the times I've been on one, I've had a lot of fun. I've tried out some crazy things from time to time, and I've had a blast.
Hello, and thank you guys for joining the ABL special broadcast. We want to share some special information with you guys regarding PokemonABL Season 3, ABL Minors, ABL BLITZ, and PokemonABL Season 4. To start, I'd like to take a second to congratulate our Season 3 champion, Salabgo. Congratulations. Salabgo overcame all adversity, and if you guys remember Salabgo, he was going back and forth between divisions, watching that differential and strategically placing himself in the position he wanted to be, and ultimately in playoffs dominated every single one of his battles. Salabgo showcased to be a very, very competitive player, and we have a special message from him for everybody right here. So take a look.
What's going on? It's your boy Solopgo, coach of the Copenhagen Canines, and I will be back for Season 4. See you guys then.
That's right. Solopgo is going to be back for Pokemon ABL Season 4. He will be defending the title, and the Copenhagen Canines are going to be back stronger than ever. But that's not all. We can also confirm that HPT, the runner-up, the coach of the St. Hubert's Castaways, will also return to Pokemon ABL Season 4. So there you have it. The first two coaches for Pokemon ABL Season 4 have been revealed. Solopgo and the Copenhagen Canines, and HPT and the St. Hubert's Castaways. These are two threatful opponents. Their overall ratings are very high. And if you guys don't know what overall ratings are, we'll get to that in a second because that's part of today's special broadcast. With the initial information out of the way, let's go ahead and take you guys over to the rest of the ABL staff, which have prepared some special information for you guys. And then we'll dig in and talk about some other cool and very interesting topics.
Hey everyone, David from the Geeky Parents here, and I am joined by my good friend, Soy Salamonster.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Today we are going to talk a little bit about Amateur Battle League Minors, or ABL Minors for short, and kind of give you guys a little more information about what's been going on with that, the teams that have been drafted, and the results from the first 2 weeks. Now, a little detail about Minors is it is kind of an off-season for ABL, kind of used to test things out, and it's not a required upload. So it's a lot more accessible to those who don't have high-end capture cards or PCs and just can't record their gameplay at all. So we figure it's a lot more accessible to people who want to make Pokemon, or actually want to compete in Pokemon draft leagues, but otherwise would be turned away from other leagues. So, that being said, it is a doubles format, much like the original ABL seasons, and it is separated into two different divisions, Crown Division and Armor Division. So, I'm going to start off with the Crown Division. First team we have here is the Boston Grambles, coached by John from Pocrates, and he ended up drafting Eternatus as his restricted mon, Snorlax as his Gmax, Clefable, Gyarados, Bronzong, Hitmontop, Decidueye, Jolteon, Morgrem, Turtonator, and Vanillix.
And something
pretty interesting.
Sorry to interrupt you, but something to point out there is that team was originally owned by Obo, who regretfully had to drop out, but he did draft Necrozma Dusk Main instead, and then there was a trade right at the very beginning. It was Torn that traded the Eternatus for the Necrozma.
Yes, you're right. That was a bit of an interesting trade right before the season even started. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting draft team. I like that. He's got some good mons in there. Next up, we have the Atlanta Star Armies, coached by yours truly. And I drafted Terrakion as my restricted, Lapras as my Gmax, Dragapult, Hawlucha, Arcanine, Milotic, which I then traded for Galarian Weezing, Excelgor, Gardevoir, Eldegoss, Klinklang, and Piloswine.
Your team has some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far. Seeing what I've done the past 2 weeks, I'm pretty happy.
More details on that in a minute.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Boston Sinistee Party, which I absolutely love the name. It's great. Coached by Dan from Pocrates. And he drafted Zacian as his restricted mon, Alchemy as his Gmax, Dugtrio, Ninetales, Primarina, Venusaur, Poltegeist, Stunjourner, Arctivish, Doublade, and Greedent. Definitely got some bulk there. Definitely.
Well, that Zacian, I think that alone gives so much trouble to a lot of teams.
Zacian is very, very scary. It's a huge threat. So next up we have the Herkimer Dreadnoughts, one of our 2 Dreadnought teams.
The Dreadnought
Coach-
teams.
Coached by Jimmy Tortuga, or Yimj, because he
Image.
spells it backwards. And he drafted Kieran Black as his restricted Mon, Hatterene as his Gmax, which I know Soy has a soft spot for.
Oh, I love her.
Ferrothorn, Toxapex, Indeedee Female, Reuniclus, Flygon, Galvantula, Flareon, Girder, and Liepard.
What I really like about that team, besides the Hatterene obviously, it's that it has so much potential for Trick Room. Like, you look at it and it's just Trick Room all over. But then you pay more attention and it's like, But there's also a Kieran Black in there, so...
Yeah, Kieran Black, Kieran Black is such a threat. Literally, first round pick, I was between that and Lapras. I just couldn't pass up the Lapras. But Kieran Black, that's a scary one. Up next, we have the other Dreadnought team, the Dallas Dreadnoughts, coached by Foul Plays. He drafted Cobalion as his restricted, Dreadnought as his Gmax, Rotom Wash, Galarian Darmanitan, Dracozolt, Aromatis, Salazzle, Shiftry, Galele, Galarian Rapidash, and Rhydon. A few mons in there you don't really see much, but definitely some threats with the Rotom Wash, Galarian Darmanitan, Gmax Dreadnought being able to set up rocks is great.
And it's the Gmax Dreadnought with one of the Dreadnought teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he got his mascot.
That always powers you up, the mascot pick.
And up last for the Crown Division, we have the Lawtown Lucarios, coached by Lucario. Go figure. His restricted mon was Kyurem, regular Kyurem. He has 2 Gmax mons because of his free pick. He has Gmax Colossal and Gmax Corviknight. Both very threatening.
Definitely.
He has Dracovish, Haxorus, Lucario, Galarian Corsola, Delmise, Arctozolt, Heatmore, and Rapidash.
I think what's interesting in this team, besides the mascot pick, once again, Lucario with the Lucarios with Lucario, is that he went for regular Kyurem, which is pretty interesting. And he has some power in there. The Corsola can put in a lot of work. The Dracovish can put in a lot of work. The Haxorus.
He's got some scary mons in there. There's quite a few dragons. Base Kyurem was very interesting to me, especially since Kyurem White is actually still in the free agency. So I personally probably would have went Kyurem White, but he knew what he was doing with it, so you can't fault the guy.
Hey, who knows? There's still a lot to go.
There really is. There really is. And that is it for the Crown Division. So I will toss it over to you, Soy, for the Armor Division.
Thank you very much. And up first in the Armor Division, we're going to have the Edmonton Excadrill, coached by Mr. Buns himself, TC Buns, and he got the Reshiram for the restricted mon. Very powerful, good combination of typings. For the Gmax, he got Sandaconda, which can be a powerhouse as well. And then right up next after the Sandaconda, he got Excadrill, another mascot pick, and Excadrill is such a good Pokemon. After that, he got Conkeldurr, he got the Mimikyu, Rotom Heat, Vaporeon, Satu, Beheeyem, Blossom, and Leafeon. So I actually like this team.
Yeah, this is actually a really good team.
And
wow.
Like I mentioned, I really like the typing on Reshiram. I think it's one of the better restricted mons too. The Excadrill with the Sandaconda is a great pairing, and then he's got a bunch of threats. He's got the Conkeldurr, the Mimikyu, the Rotom can put in a lot of work, and the rest of the Pokemon, I don't really see a weak link in here. I think they kind of complement each other pretty well.
Oh, I agree.
And then up next in this division, we're going to have the Golden State Golurks, and they are coached actually by Open Falcon. For the restricted, they have Solgaleo, and then for the Gmax, they have the Charizard, which is such a powerhouse. They have Komodo, Sylveon, Inteleon, Torkoal to boost up the Charizard, Mr. Rhyme, Scrafty, Barbarical, Clefairy, Trevenant, and this is another solid team. Just the fact that they have the Charizard and the Torkoal there, it already makes it so scary.
Yeah, who let this guy draft Charizard and Torkoal? That is nuts.
Yeah, well, I think that even on top of that, the Solgaleo is a threat, the Komodo is a threat, Sylveon is definitely a threat. We also see good things like Inteleon with the speed, a solid pick for doubles in the Mr. Rhyme and the Scrafty, the Bulk, and even the Clefairy. Clefairy, I think, was kind of low on the tier list, so I think it was a great value pick.
Oh, definitely. Eviolite Clefairy with
the
Friend Guard.
Friend Guard is so good.
It really is, especially with this being doubles format.
Then up next, we're going to move on to it's the Honolulu Toros, and this team is actually coached by Good Gamer Glenn. It also goes by Gusa, and he started out with Necrozma Dawn Wings as the restricted, then picked up the Duraludon as the Gigantamax. We have Tyranitar, Cinderace, Dusclops, Rhyperior, Meowstic, which you get both versions of Meowstic when you draft it, and Noivern, Lantern, Skuntank, and the type Null. And here I think we see another powerhouse for the restricted mons in the Necrozma. Duraludon, I think, has a lot of utility in doubles. It's definitely one of the good Gmaxes that I think often get overlooked when you have things like Lapras and such, but Duraludon I think is pretty solid. You have Dusclops, that is always so annoying.
Yes. Tyranitar and Cinderace to kind of round it up too. This is a scary drafted team right here.
And we also get the Rhyperior, which is always such a counter to Trick Room. If you think like your opponent's going to be going for that, you just go like, hey, look at what I have here. And then on the opposite end, the Noivern to set up the Tailwinds. So this is a pretty solid team.
Definitely.
And up next after that, we're going to have the Moonlit Dragapult, and they are coached by Risa. And first of all, they started out with the Samacenta, which is, mascot for Shield. Then the Gmax is Copperaja. Then they have Incineroar, Whimsicott, Blastoise, Goodra, the Ditto, Drapion, and Frostmoth, Gothorita, and Noctowl. And right off the bat, Samacenta, while I think is not as good as Zacian, it's still definitely a threat. The Copperaja, we saw it in Season 3 of the ABL. Copperaja put in a lot of work. And then you see big double threats like Incineroar, Whimsicott, the Ditto.
I almost wanted Ditto. just because Imposter's so good, and especially with there being restricted legendary mons in this. Sending out Ditto and potentially copying a legendary is a big strat to have.
And other than the legendaries, any sort of boosting strat, if you feel like you're comfortable because you got in a couple of boosts or you got set up, suddenly Ditto is there and you're like,
Exactly. Oh, it should be noted, both Zacian and Zamazenta are just their regular forms. They are not, I believe they're called the crowned forms.
Yes, they both get the steel typing, but that is forbidden in this league. So no
So
steel
they're just
typing.
the monotype fighting and fairy. Just to put that out there.
Which does hinder them, but I think they're still both powerhouses, so...
Just based off of their stats, they are still ridiculous.
The speed, because they're both so fast and they both can hit like trucks.
Exactly.
Okay, we're moving on next to the Riolu's Rangers, and they're coached by my good friend Bashe. He started out with the Mewtwo for the restricted. Then there's two Gmaxes here as well because he used that free pick to get, first he got Machamp, so it's the Gmax Machamp, and then the Gmax Grimmsnarl. Then we have Gothitelle, Chandelure, Gastrodon, Durant, Mudsdale, Pangoro, Shiinotic, which by now I think he traded to Rotom Frost, and Togetic. And I think that the main strength of this team is versatility, because Mewtwo can do so many things. Then you have the two options there for the G-Maxes. Goth is great support, Chandelure is great support, and you have other big hitters, the Durant, the Mudsdale, the Pangoro. So overall, I think this team is really good too.
It really is. Even just Mewtwo and the 2 G-Max mons, that's just...
That already makes you have to work hard on your prep.
Exactly.
And then for the last team, in the Armor Division and overall, we have the Vancouver Corbinites, coached by Torn. And this team, we have, after the trade, it was Eternatus, and now it's Necrozma Duskmane. The Gigantamax is Gengar. And then we have Hydreigon, Togekiss, Mamoswine, Seismitoad, Oranguru, Vikavolt, Avalog, Grablocked, and Linoon. And where to begin with this team? It's scary all over.
Yeah, this is such a scary team to prep for, just looking at it. Necrozma Duskmane, stats are ridiculous. G-Max Gengar. Gengar alone is a big threat, although a little frail, but it's very fast, and the special attack is very high.
And being a G-Max always helps with the frailty right there. But then you also have things like Togekiss, which is one of the best mons, I think, in the whole doubles format.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have big things. You have the Mamo, you have the Seismitoad, you have the Vikavolt.
Yeah, that is a scary team for sure. But you notice that with a lot of these teams so far, kind of looking back at what we just went over, all the drafted teams, pretty much all of them had some pretty big threats, and that's kind of the versatility that having these restricted legendary mons kind of brings into play, because you can only have one, but each one of them is scary and special in their own way.
Yeah, I don't think the draft alone gives an edge to anyone. So if you look at these teams, all of them on paper have some really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, take Torn's team for example. He was the wheel pick, so he was pick number 12, and he still got all this good stuff.
Well, I think something to mention here as well is that a lot of these coaches, they don't have any prior experience in draft leagues. I know, for example,
Exactly.
Jimmy, Vashe, Risa, all of them are having their first go. But then you have a couple of experienced coaches in there, such as yourself, such as Torn. And I think that I'm pretty sure it's going to balance out eventually, or at least I'm hoping to, because the people are going to start learning how to do things. But I do think that in these first few weeks we have, and we will continue to see who the more experienced coaches are.
Oh, for sure. Kind of remembering back to my first draft league, you start off kind of nervous, kind of scared. You don't really know what you're doing, but once you get into the feel of it and really feel the synergy of your team, it's just fantastic. It's like a complete 180 from what you started with. So I'm really excited to see how these new coaches kind of grow into their teams.
I definitely know that feel too. And speaking of which, I think we're going to move on now to see how this first 2 weeks have gone by.
Yes. So week 1, the first matchup was the Boston Grambles versus the Dallas Dreadnoughts. The Boston Grambles came out on top 3-0. Next match was the Lawtown Lucarios versus the Atlanta Starmies. The Atlanta Starmies came out on top with a 4-0. The Herkimer Dreadnoughts went up against the Boston Sinistea Party, and the Boston Sinistea Party came out on top 4-0. The Edmonton Excadrilles went up against the Golden State Golurks, and the Golden State Golurks came out on top 3-0. The Vancouver Corviknights took on the Moonlit Dragapults, and the Vancouver Corviknights came out on top 1-0. And finally for week 1, Riolu's Rangers took on Honolulu Toros, and Riolu's Rangers came out on top 2-0.
And then
I'll toss it over to you to week 2.
Thank you, sir. For week 2, we had as the first matchup the Boston Grambles against the Lawtown Lucarios, and the Grambles were able to come up with a 5-0 win. Then the second matchup was the duel of the Dreadnoughts, and the Herkimer Dreadnoughts were the ones that took that 5-0 as well against the Dallas Dreadnoughts. Then we had the Atlanta Starmies going up against the Boston Synesty Party, and it was a narrow 1-0 victory for the Atlanta Starmies. Up next, we had the Vancouver Corbinites against the Edmonton Excadrilles, and that was another 1-0 going to the Vancouver Corbinites. Next up was the Riolus Rangers against the Golden State Goldarks, and that was a 3-0 victory for the Riolus Rangers. And finally, we had the Honolulu Toros going up against the Moonlit Dragapults, and that was another 5-0 going for the Toros, as we had a lot of 5-0s in the second week.
Oh yeah, 3 5-0s. That is it's definitely impressive, especially the Dreadnoughts one, because Jimmy is the coach of the Herkimer Dreadnoughts, and him coming out 5-0, being kind of new to this whole draft league scene, that's impressive. That's definitely impressive.
Well, I think it's even more impressive when you consider that on week 1 he took a 4-0 loss, and I think that from what I spoke to Jimmy is that for the first week he didn't really put much prep into it. He was facing Sashian, which was one of the biggest threats I think in the whole league, and then for that week 2 he sort of put a plan together. He really worked on his prep, and you can tell immediately by that result.
Oh, definitely. So that does it for the first 2 weeks of the ABL Minors results. There will be a DSS, or a dynamic shuffle system, after week 4, in which coaches will kind of be paired against each other for the remaining 4 weeks based on their win-loss record. So that is exciting to look forward to. We'll see kind of what coaches move where, if some of the more experienced coaches are actually going to take some losses the next couple weeks, or if they're just going to continue to get wins. What new coaches are going to step up and really show that, you know, they're here for real. They're here to learn. They're dedicated, and they want to take the quote-unquote trophy, even though there isn't one.
It's the honor.
The first season of ABL Minors.
Well, like you said, I think so far we've seen the more experienced coaches have started off as expected, but we do see a couple of the new coaches there putting in some of the work.
Oh, for sure. It's been very impressive so far, and I really can't wait to see these remaining weeks what's going to happen, because you can already tell some of them are starting to get a little more used to their team and take it a little more seriously, like you said with Jimmy.
And definitely, I think overall we're going to only see the matches get better and better as people get more used to their teams. So the remaining weeks are definitely going to be exciting.
Oh, for sure. Well, thank you guys for joining us for this little ABL Minors recap, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you guys. Take care.
See ya.
All right, thank you guys so much for that information. Let's go ahead and move things on. I have a special video for you guys. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk about it for a little bit. That's right, Pokemon ABL Blitz will be taking place this coming June 20th. It will be a one-day Pokemon single elimination double battle tournament. Very big mouthful, I know. Basically, you will be drafting, you will be building, and you will be battling in a single elimination tournament that same day on Showdown. Doesn't get better than that. The winner, should they meet all the requirements, will get a guaranteed slot into ABL Season 4. Should they meet the requirements and should they want it. If the runner-up, if the person that wins does not qualify and or want to join, that's it. That slot is gone. You will have to just leave it to luck. Second place will not be able to carry over the prize. We do apologize for that. It is going to be strictly for first place. So, if you guys are interested in Pokemon ABL Blitz, make sure to stay tuned to the ABL Twitter and ABL Discord. There will be more information in the weeks to come. Now, moving on to Season 4. Since I know everybody wants to know more about ABL Season 4, don't worry, we got information for you today. And let's start off with the Season 4 progression, because I know that's something very important for everybody, and I know I want everybody to know, because we've been cooking this up for the past 2 to 3 months now. We've been working on it since ABL Season 3, so I'm very excited to bring out the first bit of information towards you guys. So let's dive right in. As you guys can see right here, this is the progression for ABL Season 4. Notice there are no dates, because one very important piece of information is missing, and we will be updating this with dates once we have that information. However, we've split this all into 8 parts, and we're going to dive right into them. First things first, we're going to have to select participants. This will be selected at a designated date, which will be announced in the future, but we will be selecting all our participants. There will be a total of 12 coaches for ABL Season 4. So we are downsizing the number of coaches to 12. Again, it is going to be a more precise, more direct season. So again, 12 coaches are going to be in Season 4. We only have 10 slots now since HBT and Salabgo are coming back. Now, second part of this progression is going to be the draft. Coaches will be drafting secretly. No announcements, nothing. Coaches will be drafting secretly. Because then, for step 3, we will be doing what is called as the ABL Draft. And this will be the Season 4 draft, which will be a special 2-day event, which will be streamed live on YouTube and Twitch. After the Season 4 draft, we will be doing a 2-week preseason of matches. So again, for 2 weeks, there'll be some coaches that will just play with others. And those coaches will take the time that they want to practice throughout those 2 weeks. They will be labeled as preseason matches. You will see the preseason match logo and everything. Step 5 means the season will start. Both ABL, ABL Prime Time, everything will be in full-on effect. Now, step 6 is where things change a little bit. There will only be one dynamic shuffle this season, and it will be after week 4, which means that this season is going to be an 8-week season. Again, key points here. There will be 12 coaches, 8-week regular season, and a special 2-day live stream of the draft. After the shuffle, the top 6 players will make playoffs. So once we make it all the way to week 8, whichever players are the top 6 are making playoffs. And something that is completely different for this season is that ABL Primetime will be live streaming the championship match. So everyone will be able to witness who becomes the ABL Season 4 champion at the same time. This ABL championship match will be commentated live with the ABL staff. So again, this is going to be an immense season. This season, I personally think is going to be one of the most hyped seasons that we've had for ABL as a whole. Now, there might be a few questions here and there. As you guys have already seen, there's some changes coming into play, right? We're going down from 18 coaches to 12, so that means 6 coaches no longer there. We're going down from 12 weeks to 8 weeks, and basically, this is all coming straight from feedback from coaches. Coaches felt throughout Season 3 that the season was a little bit too long. 12 weeks is sometimes too long. You can't really foresee a few weeks ahead of you at a time, and let alone 12 weeks, which is 3 months. So when we played Season 3, we didn't have COVID-19 at the beginning. It was the early stages of COVID-19. Once we made it to week 8, COVID-19 was in full effect. We had to delay a week or two for people that had to reaccommodate themselves, adjust to a new normal. So again, we're downsizing because of that and because of feedback that was already there in the first place. 8 weeks of regular season, that should be enough for you to know if you're making it in, not making it to playoffs. That's great. 12 coaches. 18 coaches is great. We love to incorporate everyone that wants to play in the ABL. However, 18 coaches is a little bit too much. So that is why we introduced ABL Minors. We introduced special events like ABL BLITZ. And with a smaller number of coaches, it's a little bit easier to keep track of everything that's going on. With that being said, this season is shaping up to be the greatest season of all ABL. With ABL Primetime taking a spotlight here, we're going to be able to live stream the championship match. We're going to be able to commentate over playoff matches. I know some of the feedback from viewers was, well, after the final regular season, there was nothing. Playoffs kind of just happened and went. And that is true. We take all feedback and we look at it and we study it and we make things better. So, ABL Season 4 is full on, ready to show you guys some epic Pokemon ABL battles. Now, of course, ABL Season 4 will be post Isle of Armor. So this is post DLC. All the battles are post DLC, new Pokemon and everything included. So with that said, let's keep going and see what else has changed in ABL Season 4. So like we mentioned, ABL Primetime is going to be completely different for ABL Season 4. We have a brand new Primetime logo featuring the ABL Season 4 logo, and it will always have a commentated match. So every single week you will have one commentated match on ABL Primetime. There will be a $20 Power Play winner weekly. This was following suit from last season, where ABL Season 3 had a $20 Power Play every week throughout the regular season. It will be the same this time. $20 Power Play winner weekly throughout the regular season. We will have commentated playoff matches, which we just mentioned. Last season we did not. And we will stream the championship match live. So again, everyone will get to watch and witness as a brand new or the defending champion takes that championship title back. We don't know because, again, this hasn't happened. So, moving on. I know you guys want to know a lot about the changes. I know you guys want to know about changes. I know you guys want to know about ABL. And again, there's not a lot we can talk about right now. But the things we can talk about are very exciting. So, let's dive into that. Let's talk about the nitty-gritty. I know there's going to be some questions. Questions can't be answered right now because we're currently streaming this to you. But whenever questions do arise, don't worry, the ABL will be there to answer. If you guys have any questions about anything being discussed right now, you guys can go to PokemonABL.com. Information will be posted there after the stream. And if you guys are watching this in a VOD format, it might already be up. Or you could go to the ABL Discord links, which would be found down in the description or in the About section if this is on Twitch, or if this is on the website, You can go to the ABL Discord and get all your questions asked and answered directly there. So let's move on with the more bit of info that I have for you guys for today. ABL Season 4 changes. First things first are carryovers. The top 2 finalists can select Pokemon to carry over into their team next season at the cost of their draft position and first or last picks, dependent on the number of Pokemon carried over. And then we also have overall ratings. All participants will be rated based on their win-loss and KD calculations. To achieve 100 overall, participants must reach that number through calculation and win the season. Otherwise, it will be capped at 99 overall. So let's talk about this real quick before we move on to the next bit of information. And let's start off with the overall ratings. So basically, the way this is going to work is you take your win-loss, your total win-loss percentage, your total KD percentage, you add that percentage together. It should, like, let's say you have a 93 win-loss percentage and a 20 KD percentage. You put 93 plus 20, and whatever that number is, you're going to divide it by 200. And then that should be your overall. You cannot ever go over 100 overall, because the only way you can reach 100 overall is if you have actually won that season. So, players, I think, no, there's no player that has made an overall yet, because the winner of ABL Season 3 did not reach the 100 based on their win-loss KD. So that's how that works. Now, the other little bit of information we need to talk about here is carryovers. At the end of ABL Season 3, we approached the first and second place players, and we asked them, hey, if you guys want to come back to Season 4, would you want to carry over any Pokemon? And this is how it's going to work. I'll go a little bit more in depth about the carryovers so everybody's aware. So, first place, the champion, is allowed up to 2 Pokemon to carry over. That is it, no more than 2. If they choose to carry over 2 Pokemon from their team, let's say, for example, for purposes, Salabgo won Season 3. Let's say Salabgo wanted to carry over Torkoal and Charizard, 2 Pokemon. Salabgo would be slotted in the middle of the upcoming draft. So he would 100% have the middle spot of that draft. And Salabgo would lose the first and last pick. What does this mean? This means round 1, pick 1, Salabgo does not pick. He will be slotted one of the 2 Pokemon that he picked. Round 12, pick, I don't know what number pick that would be, but the middle pick, Salabgo doesn't get to pick again. He would get slotted that other Pokemon that he has. So this is a somewhat balanced approach for players to be able to carry over their favorite Pokemon or the Pokemon that they think benefits them the most, and at the same time it kind of gives them a sort of advantage since they're kind of losing something in return. So with that being said, if Salabgo would have gone with this approach and let's say carried over Torkoal and Charizard, he would know that he's a 6th pick. So going into the draft, he would already know, hey, I'm the 6th pick. I don't get to pick round 1. So I should, instead of be looking at this Pokemon, I'm going to be looking at these tiers over here and these other Pokemon because I know I'm not going to have the time or the chance to pick these really. So if Salabgo only chose to pick 1 Pokemon to carry over, he would be slotted the middle pick and only lose his last pick, therefore leaving him with his first pick still open. So he could have, in theory, carried over Charizard, lost his last pick, be the middle pick of the draft, and still have Charizard. And pick first in the first round, of course. Or not first, but in the first round. Luckily, Salabgo and HPT did not decide to carry over any mon, so they will be randomized into the draft as well. But it is openly known now that in Season 4, if you win or are 2nd place and you want to return for Season 5, you get the option to carry over your Pokemon. Now, a little side bit of this. The 2nd place winner can only pick 1 Pokemon to carry over, and they will be placed right in front of where the middle of the draft would be. If there's 12 players in the season, he would be pick 5. If there was, 20 players, he would be pick 9. Not the middle, right before the middle. And that is how that's basically going to work. And they only pick 1, so they only lose the last pick, not the first. So they'd be right on top of the middle of the draft, and they would lose their last pick. Again, that's how carryovers are going to work. Now let's move on because I know that's a little bit somewhat complicated. I'm pretty sure if you guys are watching this live and are asking questions in the chat, those are being answered. If you have more questions, I'm pretty sure PokemonABL.com will have more information for you. But let's move on for the next bit of information regarding changes. Trainer cards! In unison with overall ratings, custom trainer cards will serve to showcase participants' personalities and rating within the league. Here we have 2 examples. We have one for the San Juan Frokies, and we have one for the champion of Season 3, the Copenhagen Canines. Again, these are not final, these are just examples. And basically, the way these trainer cards are going to work is whenever we're doing prime time, we're discussing battles, doing showcases, Twitter wants to announce something regarding a specific team, there will be trainer cards with the trainer's rating on them already. If you're a brand new trainer or a brand new coach for a season, you will be capped, and I believe it's at 60. You don't have a record, so you're capped at 60. That's the lowest you could ever go. If you're below 70 in rating, you're automatically capped at 60. That way we don't have to run any more calcs. We just put you at 60. So if you're new, you're at 60. If you're old, you will just run your calcs and see where you're at. But ultimately, every season these numbers will change. So if Salabgo is a 96 on Season 3, he could be a 100 in Season 4. We don't know. But let's move on with some more information because yes, I have more information for you. Entry fees. Beginning in Season 4, main seasons will require a small entry fee. This fee is utilized to help cover prize costs for the season. We also have draft transactions. While the draft is occurring, participants will have 2 draft transactions available to either trade Pokemon with others or trade positions up and down for a specified round. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's start with the entry fees, right? So entry fees, a brand new small fee that will help cover costs of prizes and shipping. So again, there's $20 every week given out to participants. I promise you the entry fee will not ever be more than $20. Ever. Probably not ever more than 10. More information regarding the entry fee can be found directly at the ABL Discord. We will have that information out at the ABL Discord. It will probably be on PokemonABL.com as well as we speak. So again, don't worry, all that information will be out relatively shortly. But there's ways to get around that entry fee, as you guys may or may not know. And how are those exactly? Let's talk about that real quick. First way to get your fee waived, be 1st or 2nd place and come back next season. So Salabgo and HBT, they're coming over next season. Again, this is all transparent. There's nothing to hide. The league doesn't make any money. This is all nonprofit. So First, second place, they just carry over. Their fees are waived. ABL Minors. First place of ABL Minors. If you meet the criteria and you upload and you win ABL Minors, you get a guaranteed slot into ABL Season 4 and your entry fee is waived. ABL BLITZ. The winner of ABL BLITZ. If you meet the criteria and you want to join ABL Season 4, you get your entry fee waived. So there's already 4 slots of waived entry fees. So again, fees are going to be very minimal. I believe it's right now it's being debated between $5 and $10 USD. It's not confirmed yet. It will be confirmed in the coming weeks as we get closer to Season 4. So again, very easy ways to get away from the fee and very small fee ultimately. But that's not the important news though. Did you guys see draft transactions? Let's talk about draft transactions for a second because this is very, very interesting and we want to revolutionize how drafts are done in Draft League. So let's talk about draft transactions and let's do it. The idea of a draft league is drafting, right? And then battling. We posted a question, a poll on Twitter, and we asked, what is your favorite part of draft leagues? And it was pretty split between draft and battling. I believe draft went with a 43%, 42% of votes, and then right after that, it was battling at 40. So we changed the way draft works just a little bit. We added draft transactions. So basically, at the beginning of the draft, every coach will have 2 draft transactions. And they can be used for one of 2 things. Either trading Pokemon with another coach. You cannot pick up free agencies. Nope. No switching drafts. Just trading with another coach. And trading positions with another coach. And that one is the game changer. Now, how does this exactly work? Now, let's talk about this. So let's say round 1 has passed. I drafted Pikachu. And you, watching, drafted Clefairy. But you sniped me, and I wanted Clefairy more than I wanted Pikachu deep down for some reason, right? For the sake of the example, let's make it work. I come to you via DM or the draft channel where people always talk when they're drafting, and I say, hey, I actually want Clefairy more than Pikachu. Would you be willing to trade? If the coach accepts, we both use a transaction point to switch the trades over. That will come into effect the next round. So when the next round begins, it would be announced. A trade has occurred between Team A, Team B, Pikachu for Clefairy, boom, and those just get swapped around. Now we both each have 1 transaction point. However, it can also be used to switch your draft position. So let's talk about that one. Let's say I am pick 7 of the draft, and let's say you are pick 12. I made my pick at pick 7. However, you're pick 12, so you get 2 picks. And next round, I'm pretty sure my Pokemon is not going to make it. I could, in theory, trade draft spots with you. And I can say, hey, are you willing to trade draft positions with me? And if you say yes, that trade obviously goes into effect the next round, which in turn means that that 12th pick doesn't get the wheel pick because they lose that spot. So they would pick their pick and then I would pick. And then when it comes back to where I would be, that instead of that player that had that 12th pick would pick instead. It gets kind of confusing, I know. But think of the possibilities when you have a Pokemon to offer plus want to switch positions. So for example, let's play it this way. Let's say you and I both have 2 draft picks, or 2 draft transactions left, right? I trade you, let's say Whimsicott and your draft spot for whatever Pokemon you're willing to trade me and that draft spot. Some people in a doubles format league would pretty much kill to have a Whimsicott, especially with Prankster. You say yes. And now I have moved up in the draft. You have moved down for that 1 round. It is not end all be all. It is only for that specified round. And that's how draft transactions work throughout the draft. You can either draft Pokemon, trade Pokemon, or trade draft positions. Now, are these going to be used? I don't know. Do we hope they're used? We hope they're used because this is also the only way for you to get a Pokemon that might have been sniped before. So let's say Team A drafted a Pokemon and Team B got sniped. Let's say round 5, they realize, hey, I actually really want that Pokemon. You can go ahead and try to make a transaction with that coach. However, draft transactions all are, you cannot make any more. Those draft transactions that you have available to you all expire as soon as the final draft pick is made. Once that final draft pick goes through, that is it. No more draft transactions are available. And that is how draft transactions work. So hopefully, ABL Season 4 spices up the draft scene. Now that we're talking about the draft scene, we have just one little bit of information here for you guys, and it's about the draft, rather. So let's go ahead and talk about that. The ABL Season 4 draft will be a 2-day draft event. It is going to be live on Twitch and YouTube. It will be featuring guests, and we will be doing team analysis and commentary. Now, how is this all going to work? Day 1 will feature rounds 1 through 4. We will have coach guests, and we will have discussions talking about the picks, trying to foresee what these teams are trying to pick for their next future picks. And if there's any transactions, we'll talk about those transactions. Day 2 will be rounds 5 through 12. We will be doing full team analysis, and we will be showcasing the matchup schedule. So for the first time ever, you guys get to see what the schedule will be for the first 4 weeks of the draft league season. So again, the ABL Season 4 draft is going to be a big 2-day event. Again, it's going to be a big 2-day event, and we hope you guys do not miss it. Again, I want to take a quick moment to thank everybody for watching. I think that is all the information we have for you guys right now. I wish we had more. We sadly do not. But with that being said, ABL Season 4 is shaping up to be the biggest season we have yet. And again, what you're seeing right now is kind of sort of one of the little presentation overlays we're going to be having for prime time. Again, what you're seeing now is a little bit of Season 4, a glimpse into Season 4. But again, if you guys want to join ABL Season 4, more information on when to sign up will be revealed later. Again, it will follow the suit of how Season 3 worked in seasons prior, where we will have a sign-up form, and then based on your criteria, based on the criteria, and based on your qualifications, and based on your experience, we will either accept and or deny and or recommend you come up as a backup coach and or recommend you go into ABL Minors first. So there's that. If you guys want to secure a spot into ABL Season 4, sadly 2 spots are already gone. Sadly, ABL Minors has already begun, so right now the only way you can secure a spot into ABL Season 4 is through ABL Blitz on Saturday, June 20th, 2020. Again, ABL Blitz, more information on PokemonABL.com. The PokemonABL Twitter will have more information. The YouTube might have more information. And the best way to keep in touch with everything going on in the ABL world is through the ABL Discord. Again, you can't be part of any of these events if you're not in the PokemonABL Discord. So again, we do ask you do just join the ABL Discord. Mute it if you want to. Just come back whenever you want to join the league. And with that being said, I don't think we have anything else for you. We do appreciate every single one of your time. And again, we hope to see you very soon in ABL Blitz. So until next time, we will be having the dates and everything for you guys for Season 4 later in the future. But for now, make sure you start finding a way to reforge your legacy, because ABL Season 4 is coming. And it's coming fast. Peace.